Welcome to the Global Speaker Advantage, the #1 podcast where your voice goes beyond borders. Hosted by Nshom, international speaker and coach, this show is for speakers ready to grow influence, land paid gigs, and make a global impact. Tune in every Tuesday and Friday weekly for insights, interviews, and strategies to help you thrive on the world stage. Let's go global.
This is the Global Speakers Advantage podcast, where every episode is a masterclass. I am your host, Nshom. We are on a mission to touch every voice in every corner of the world in such a way that they can be able to share their messages of inspiration. They can reach out to the people they are intended to reach out to them, and of course, create global impact. Let's make it count. In today's special edition, I am having a very, very outstanding speaker, and she is all the way from Canada. And of course, you're going to be discovering her in less than no time. But before we discover our guest for today, let's hear from what listeners around the world are actually saying about the Global Speakers Advantage podcast. Let's hear the voices of young people across the world and their perspective about the Global Speakers Advantage podcast.
Hello world, I am Delisa from the Northwest region of Cameroon. I am excited to be this week's spotlight listener of the Global Speakers Advantage podcast. Why do I tune on to this podcast every Tuesday and Friday? I do this because it doesn't just inspire, it ignites, and it constantly reminds me that my dream, my purpose, and my story matters both locally and globally. To all those listening to this podcast, keep listening, dream boldly, speak fearlessly, and keep listening, because this is not just a show, it is a movement. This podcast has helped me to be able to host programs, speak in programs, and I'm looking forward to hosting more courses with the help of this podcast. Thank you, Sir Oliver Nshom, for creating this platform. Thank you to all the listeners. I am honored to be this week's spotlight listener. Thank you, sir, and back to you. It's my one minute. Hello.
Hello world, I'm Larissa. Hello world, I'm Larissa Ko from Bamenda, Cameroon, and I am this week's spotlight listener on the Global Speakers Advantage podcast. Why do I tune in every Tuesday and Friday? Because this podcast doesn't just inspire, it ignites. It reminds me that my story, my voice, and my purpose matter locally and globally. Since I started listening, I've gained the courage to continue speaking, write a book, and even launch numerous courses in public speaking. It's like having a front row seat to greatness every single week. So to you who is watching, dream boldly, speak fearlessly, and keep listening, because the Global Speakers Advantage podcast isn't just a show, it is a movement. Thank you, Coach Oliver, for creating this platform. I am honored to be this week's spotlight listener. Over to you.
Hello world, I'm called Professor Kisa. I'm the founder and executive director of DSR Academy and the co-founder of Dare TV Show. I am from Bamenda, Cameroon, and I am this week spotlight listener of Global Speaker Advantage podcast. Why do I tune in every Tuesday and Friday. Because this podcast doesn't just inspire, it ignites. It reminds me of my voice, my story, and my purpose, how it matters to the world, both locally and globally. Since I've been listening, I've gained insight from top global speakers on how to restructure my organization to create more impact. I've learned the importance of investing in my reputation. If you are out there watching, dream boldly, speak fearlessly, and keep watching Global Speaker Advantage podcast, because not just a show, it's a movement. Thank you very much, Oliver Nshom, for creating this platform, and I am honored to be this week's Spotlight listener of Global Speaker Advantage podcast.
And that was it for our listeners of the week. And thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Let us know which part of the world you're watching us from. And of course, you can possibly be the next listener of the week on the Global Speakers Advantage podcast. And dear friend, get ready and put your seat around the table, because today you are definitely going to be fired up with the caliber and the person we have today as our guest, all the way from Canada. Just before we dive deeper, just a little bit about Delisa Abraham. She is a veteran executive, a strategic advisor, a trusted civic voice. Delisa, with over 2 decades of cross-sector leadership, spanning the military, corporate, non-profit, public sectors, she specialized in navigating the intersection of protocol, strategic communication, and civic engagement. Delisa is on a mission to help leaders and institutions around the world build trust, visibility, impact through clarity, collaboration, and purpose-driven messaging. Delisa, you're welcome to the Global Speakers Advantage podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Oliver, and to everyone that's tuning in. Hello to you all. Thank you so much for tuning in and for having me on.
Delisa, thank you. Today we're talking about, if they don't trust your voice, your mic is useless. Let's fix that. What do you expect everybody who's going to be listening to us today or tuning in to learn from today's conversation at the Global Speakers Advantage podcast, please?
The biggest thing that they will learn is understanding how to effectively and strategically use their voice. I know these terms may sound very militant, however, it is also very necessary. That and I was a veteran for over 13. I'm a veteran, so I've served for over 13 years in my life. And so I want people to really understand the value of the voice, their impact of their voice, and that their voice makes a difference. It influences others.
I love that. I love that. So tell us about strategic communication. What do you understand by strategic communication, and why is it important for people to be strategic in the way they do communication?
Absolutely. It's like anything that we do, we start off with the intentionality. So our communication, Oliver, you and I, when we are speaking, let's say online, maybe engaging in each other's posts, for example, we're strategic in our responses. People don't see it from that perspective because they think, well, I'm just sending a message. However, they had to read the post. They had to relate to it, connect to it. So when they do decide to comment or repost or share on another platform, that level of intentionality is sharing that influence, the impact you had on them to others. And so when people start really looking at it from that perspective about the intentionality of it, that's where the strategy actually starts forming. And after the intentionality, we start to listen.
I love that. And so the podcast is watched by a lot of aspiring speakers, both from the northern part of the world and from the third world countries, the southern part of the world. And they are watching right now from different countries. And of course, they'll be curious, like, you have been a speaker and you've spoken internationally for, you have been doing this for quite some time, and you're talking about over 2 decades, like in the industry. So what is your why? Why did you choose this path over many other patterns and alternatives, but you decided to choose the speaking industry? What actually motivated you, Delisa, to choose this path of the career pattern?
The impact and the influence is wider. That is the simplest and the simplest answer, and it's the most effective way. A lot of the times when we're now starting off, we think to ourselves, I need to get on the biggest stage. Right? We want to reach the millions and millions of people. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so many people, they start off with like, okay, I'm going to start my YouTube channel. I'm going to sign up to be on this podcast or on this stage or on that stage. And they're most of the time, about 98% of the time, and I've experienced this too, you get rejected. You get a rejection. Maybe you're not prepared, or they're looking for a bigger name speaker, or maybe you're now starting off. And when you're now starting off, or maybe you're still new to the game, you have some experience, that level of trust is not there. They're not sure if you can deliver. And so I started on this path because it's something that is natural to me, something that I've been doing for many years. I mentioned I was in the military. I served over 13 years. I was in leadership position. I had to teach leadership. I had to be in leadership. So I'm using my voice every day, all day. And as I transitioned into corporate and, of course, into my own business, and that with my daughter that you're aware of, Oliver, it became it's just so natural to me. And it flowed effortly. And I will admit, it's not that, right away everyone said, yes, we want you, Delisa. No, I had to go out there and pay my dues, right? I had to show up every day. I had to build a community. I had to earn people's trust. So that those in my sphere of influence, those that are in my community, as well as others, they come across, you know what, I need you to come on this panel. I want you to facilitate or to moderate this particular session, or I want to invite you to this, or I want to introduce you to my friend. So there are all different dynamics and ways. And, that's one of the many things that we need to understand, especially when we're starting off. Don't expect right away to make it, quote unquote, big, right? Start where you are and build that trust, because anyone and everyone that is in the game, they had to pay their dues. They've been doing it for decades upon decades, and it's a fact.
Wow. So that's getting so impressive, So, what are the things you did, to start trusting people, especially in this part of the world, in the northern part of the world, where trust is very important. And once trust is been taken away, your business is finished. And it goes right from, reviews on Google to what people comment on your posts and what people think and feel about you. So what was your biggest event? When was your biggest gig? And what did you do to the point that people started trusting you with their platform, trusting you to come and train in their organization, trusting you to do business with you, please?
It was my community. I got my referrals from within my community. They saw me show up on my LinkedIn. I was doing a lot of LinkedIn lives. I was doing podcasts. I was going on other people's podcasts who were already part of the Faith and Sparkles World community before the 3CL communications community. And they would say, call me up and say, oh, there's a entrepreneurial development session that's happening. We have some seasoned entrepreneurs that are coming in or are in our workplace, so on and so forth. And they would recommend me. So that referral, that is where this is where you will get your work from. This is what's going to build your career, because remember, their audience trusts them. So for them to refer you, you're pretty much a shoo-in, because they're going off their reputation. They're putting their reputation on the line for you. There's that referral. And in saying that as well, you still have to put in the work. People still need to trust you. That means you have to show up. So if all you have right now is Instagram and LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube or whatever you are, maximize that platform and build your community. That is the best lesson I can tell you to do. And be consistent each and every day, each and every time. Be consistent. Take the time to figure out in your community who has podcasts. Figure out in your community who can you potentially collaborate with. Figure it out. Get to know the people in your community, not so that they can refer you to their audience, so that you can genuinely build your community. And then you can genuinely earn their trust, because what will naturally happen is that people will share you with others. Even if they don't fully understand every single thing that you do, they may just like you and they just trust you, and they will say, I know this guy. I know a guy. His name is Oliver. This will be a really good alignment. And right there, you have that connection. You have that contact. They connect you. And there's that mutual connection of that person. And, the trust, because they trust that person, they want to get to know you. And from there, you have to obviously sell yourself. Well, when I say sell yourself, I mean, showcase your gift, talents, abilities, what value that you have.
I love that. Oh, that's brilliant, man. So look at it. I listened to the CEO of NVIDIA, one of the guys behind ChatGPT, and he made a very powerful statement. He said something like this. He said, the next 5 years, the world is going to have more millionaires that are leveraging on AI than ever before. Jensen. And again, I was 2 days ago, I listened to Myron Gooden. He made a very powerful statement, which I believe in that. And he said, I quote, the time we are living right now is the greatest time ever, with so many opportunities and countless opportunities to become successful, irrespective of what you're doing, because of the opportunities the internet is giving us and the endless possibilities with connectivity from people from all around the world. Now, Delisa Abraham, you are a speaker. You've been doing this for over 2 decades, like over 20 years. What message of hope do you have to give to people listening to us right now on leveraging on the artificial intelligence with the opportunities and the breakthrough the internet has brought to us, to our doorpost, in terms of public speaking, communication, professional speaking, and scaling up?
I would tell you that when you show up proper. Show up the way you want people to see you. So if you are selling the best rice, I don't know, I'm just using rice, or clothing, or whatever it is, it could be anywhere in the world. Maybe you're in social media, maybe you're in marketing, perhaps you're in public relations. It doesn't matter. The point is that the internet connects us. I will give you guys a very good example. There was a young woman that reached out to me on Facebook last year. She's from Nigeria. And she reached out. I've worked with many people all over the world. So yes, I've had to learn real quick, real well. And when she first came, all she had was proof from her own social channel, which was on Pinterest. She was a Pinterest expert. And she was following me for a very, very long time. And, you know, she wanted to work together, obviously, because she wanted to build her clientele. She saw the views, so she shoot her shot, right? She's like, I'm going to go in. And she was consistent, writing comments, sending message, not just saying, oh, can you help me? I need this or anything like that. Like genuine comments.
Yeah.
Then we had a conversation because I was like, okay, let me get to know you just from this, right? Let me get to know you. And I had no idea where in the world she was, no clue at that point. And she told me, you know, she's from Nigeria and this is her specialty. This is her expertise. I'm like, well, what is your proof? She told me. We even had to look at, well, what are you looking for in budget? And I remember she was telling me certain prices. And I go, why do you think you deserve this price? Especially when you were new. So there was all of these, there wasn't anything wrong with it. It was just this. And I was sharing with her, okay, well, I will let you work with me for a trial period. I said, I'll give you a trial period and we can work on one smaller project to see how that works. And she did such an exceptional job. I actually recommended her to other people in my audience. Who eventually started working with her, and that's how she built her business because it started off with that, right? Remember, it just takes one person. Sometimes we're all looking for the 10, 20 different kind of clients because we're seeing a lot of noise out there telling you to make 10K, 20K, 50K, 100, whatever, right? But it sometimes you just need that one person that can help you deliver. And then you work together, and there was a mentorship that happened during that time as well. You know, she ended up writing really great reviews for me, which I appreciated. I didn't even have to ask her; she did it. And she went on, and now she's great at what she does. But I use this as an example to any single one that's starting off your career. If there's someone that you admire and respect wherever you are in the world, follow them, learn from them, comment from them. But don't only look at someone who you believe like, oh, I need to look at the top 1% in my industry. Sometimes you can look at the 10% in the industry, the top 10%. There's nothing wrong with that. Work your way up, learn from them, grow from them. You could get mentored for free from them. Generally, and people forget that. They think they have to pay for all of these different things. And that's what I've done to grow. And anytime I'm working with anyone, I'm always looking at ways to help them grow. And it doesn't matter wherever in the world it is. And so that would be my best advice. Maximize the internet, maximize AI as best as possible. Be strategic. If you don't know, learn and find a mentor in your industry, someone who you respect, someone who can take some time to work with you or mentor you so that you can grow.
I really love that. That's so powerful. Let's just hear from what some people are saying online. Happy to learn. This is from Jam Etienne. You're happy to learn that I have to start where I am and build upward trust. I love that. Thank you, Etienne. He says, how to build trust. Your work should actually proceed. Number 2, you have to show up when you are needed. Number 3, maximize your platform, build your community. Number 4, stay consistent to genuine and trust. People will share with you other people connections, creating that connection. Okay, I love that. This is from Nancy Raymond, says great discussions there. Okay, great. Thank you so much for those who are watching. Let us know what you feel and what you think. And of course, you have a question you can ask to Delisa Abraham at the same time. So I love what you're saying, Delisa. Let's dive a little bit into networking. You know, you're an expert in networking, you know, from the private to the government and all of that. So what are the 3 tips that you practice in networking especially at the corporate level, that are working so well that you love to share with the people watching us right now, even those who are watching after, on how to effectively network? Because there are a lot of mistakes, that a lot of, especially beginners, that make a lot of networking, that actually play negatively on their reputation, on their careers, on their future search. So what are the three things you would love to share to the people, with the people watching us right now, on how they can scale up and avoid dissonances in their networking experiences?
Great question. Thank you so much for asking that. 3 tips. When you're in a corporate environment, especially now during the summertime, most people are on holidays, school is off. So you will find a lot of senior execs or CEOs, they will host barbecues, they will host an event, something in networking, perhaps at their house, or it could be a corporate event. Show up. If your company is hosting something, show up. I can't stress that enough. People throw away these opportunities that are given to them. The second thing that I would say is be intentional. When you show up, you have to have a game plan. And this is part of the strategy I discussed earlier. Who do you want to speak to when you show up at this event? What is it that you want? What value can you give? So the intentionality part, the second tip is really, you have to craft your elevator pitch, your 1-minute pitch. It has to be so down packed. And that's where the strategy comes in. That's where the intentionality of what it is comes in. And so when you're showing up, you're going there with purpose. Yes, you're going to socialize. Yes, you're going to get to meet other people and laugh and smile and do all of those wonderful things. But you have a goal, you have an aim. And so that level of direction guides you through it. And the third thing I would say, and this is the most important, but I put it third because it affects every other aspect of everything, is to listen. When you are in front of people that, and it doesn't matter who it is, you're in that room, listen. Listen more, speak less. That's it. Listen more, speak less. And the reason why I am telling you this is because this is where the deals get done. This is where the promotion happens. People don't see it that way, right? And I go in more a bit with this, with the listening. Find out, hi, how are you? Be genuine in asking them about themselves. Be genuine in asking them about what's happening. And in return, they're going to ask you a question. And that's when you have your pitch ready. Who you are, who you serve, what value can you do? If there is a project that you want to be a part of, say it. Talk about, like it's your resume, but not really your resume. It's, you're keeping yourself so that they can recognize your value. And when they walk away, everyone else came and said, hi, how are you? Great party. We're loving this. I'm having an opportunity to relax. But they remember you because you listened. You asked the right questions and you had your pitch ready. You showed them your value. And it only takes one person to see that value. And that's it. They can refer you. They might say, you know what? Oliver was out there. Oliver really made an impact, right? So you have that lasting thing that's there. An example for myself, when I'm showing up to any networking event, I always prepare myself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I am in alignment with all of it, from the clothes to everything. I am very, very intentional about it because I do not have time to waste. And the people that are in the rooms that I'm in, they definitely do not have time to waste. Yes. So when I show up, there needs to have some sort of impact. They need to have some sort of way to remember me and to be able to connect with me. And the thing is, when you're dealing with different levels of people, different levels of mindset and income, the courting phase takes a longer period of time. That's how you cultivate trust. And when I say courting, they have to get to know you. So that means you're building out relationships. So the person that you met at the corporate event that you're like, you know, your boss or your boss's boss or whoever it may be that you've left an impact, remember, you follow them on social media. You send them a message. It was so great to meet you. Thank you for sharing this really great tip for me to advance. And you will see they would respond maybe with thank you. You know, it was great to meet you. But this is where you now put in the work and you keep the conversation going, not to get anything, but to build the relationship.
What a nugget. That's deep. So moving forward, let's look at the leadership, personal leadership. I'm one of the person that I believe so much in personal leadership, Delisa, and we live in a world everything is pretty fast, and everybody at times when they see the glory others are having on social media, all of that, they want to just get into that realm where they begin to experience that glory. But again, many of them, they might not have to do the internal work that has been done with themselves in terms of discipline, in terms of showing up when you're supposed to show up, in terms of sticking to your words and all of that. So what do you have to say also to our listeners watching us right now on the importance of personal leadership? Because it all begins from within. And if you cannot be the person that people think you are, when you eventually show up, the people would not believe you. And that's it, that's finished. So why is it important for us to maintain values of personal leadership like discipline, like integrity, character, trust, and to be sure that we also work so much on our personal development so that when we show up finally, we come in with our A game, not B game, not C game, not D game. Why is that important for us to get the result that we all crave and yearn to have? Please.
If you can't lead yourself, you can't lead others. And that's an old saying. There's another old proverb, right? Show me your friends and show me who you are. And I use that word very much particular. I even tell my young daughter, show me your friends and show me why. What do you mean? What does this have to do with leadership? Well, who are you following? Who has influence over your life? Who are you influencing? And once you become aware of that, then, and there's other factors too, but I'm just using from this perspective, it's easy for you to start looking at yourself. A lot of the times we blame people externally, these external situations. I did this because of that. This happened because of this. So many things. When we have to look at ourselves, how did I react or respond when this happened? What emotions came up for me? Why did I get angry, happy, sad? So there's a lot of awareness that needs to happen. And this means that you have to take time in the night before you go to bed and assess your day. Okay. So there's a lot of other things that's going on. And you will see a lot of people, they'll say, you know, they meditate at night, they pray at night, they journal, whatever it is that they're doing, right? They're being intentional and they're taking the time. I can't take the time for anyone else. You can't take the time for anyone else to help them with that. Like in terms of them dedicating and making that decision to sit and do the work. I have to do the work myself. You, Oliver, have to do the work yourself. There's another proverb that says, you know, you could lead the horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Right? So it comes down to the individual and how much they actually want to work on themselves and how much they want to put in the work.
I love that. And so looking at that personal leadership, which is actually one of the reasons that is helping you to drive the result you're driving. So what do we? I have personally realized this. There is a lot of people get to this speaking industry most of the time because they see that Delisa Abraham is doing great, all right? Or maybe they see you're speaking in different places and all of that. Like, wow, that's amazing. This can be a very fun career path for me. But again, they have not assessed themselves to know if they are actually a good fit in the speaking industry. And they just dive and jump into the speaking. And before they notice, they become very frustrated, especially within the first 2 years. They have not had a single gig. They have not had a single invitation to speak left and right. And they feel like it's like some people are performing the magic in getting gigs in this thing. But they forget to know that beyond speaking, you need to have the abilities, the giftedness, the calling, the passion, the love for it. And so, what do you have to say to the people watching us on the importance of actually knowing if this is your vocation or this is your advocation? Because these are two different things, and some people mistakenly take vocations for advocation, things that are supposed to do for hobby, they're doing it for a living, and
Yeah.
they are becoming so miserable doing that, and it's never going to work. So, what do you have to say on the importance of clarity, taking time to assess your talent, your passions, your love, your competencies, your skill sets, your mindset before you dive into the speaking industry, just to avoid frustration?
You have to know what you have to know where you want to go. And I say this with, and in all honesty, recognizing that there is a lot of travel when you speak. Oliver, you are very much aware of this.
So,
That means you are spending time away from your family. You are in hotel rooms. There are some engagements you may have to pay for in the beginning. They may not be paying you. You may have to pay them so you can speak and like foot the bill and swallow that, and and then show up on stage, right? As well as speaking takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of energy. It takes focus. You have to tap into a different level up within yourself. You need coaches to help you. And I don't necessarily mean coaches that's going to get you booking gigs, but coaches to help you speak. Where can I improve? Coaches for dressing, to project what it is that you want to do. You're going to also need, and some people don't even talk about this, but it's hinted with a lot of the top speakers, they even have their own their faith-based minister, or that's with them, because they have to be able, before they go on stage and they're giving a lot, they have to be in the quiet, they have to be in the silence, they have to be so prepared, and like the words need to just be, so when they're speaking it, they will touch and impact lives and people. A really great example and a very popular person is Tony Robbins. Most people know him all around the world, right?
Yep.
He has his Impact Summit every year, free. It's online. But if you've been following him for 55 decades, perhaps, is it 5 decades or something, or 4? I don't know how many decades, but it's a long time that he has been doing this. He has grown, he has evolved, his style has changed, his voice is his voice, but you will see that he's able to relate. And at the same time, there was a period when he was going through a lot where he had to learn how to just sit down, and he said he had to learn how to ground himself. He had to learn how to prepare for the audience. He had to know, what is it that I want released, right? To touch them emotionally. And you see this also with ministers. I don't know who your audience are, but if you watch any sort of ministers, pastors, priests, when the ones with the large audience, they're connecting with their audience in a way that unites them, that says, I get you, I understand you, and this is the way out. And that makes the most success. So I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, it is so helpful. And I hope our listeners are really enjoying that. conversation. We will have a short kind of an advert, and then take 53 seconds, and then we'll be right back.
You have lived through powerful moments. You have overcome and you have grown. Now it's time to tell your story and get booked for it. At Talks, we are launching a powerful platform called Tell Us Your Story. And it's moment for you to shine. We will work with you one-on-one and coach you to be able to share your story with the world. And we will take your story, edit it, and release it in our platform, Talks. Let the world hear what you've been through and why it matters now more than ever. Spots are limited. If you're ready to turn your story into your stage, now is the time.
Okay, thank you so much for watching that particular slot and spot advert, whatever you call it. Our guest today is Delisa Abraham, and she is one of the few that is not only in the speaking industry, but she is in with her amazing daughter. and tell us a little bit about your daughter. Like, when did she decided she want to also become a speaker? And she's still an amazing job, you know.
Oh, well, at five, she had her first main stage at 5 years old.
Amazing.
She was invited to every single stage she's been on.
Amazing. So she should be grinding it, even getting to what they're doing even more than you right now, you know?
Yeah, she's better. She's better than me for sure.
That tells about the great leader you are to her, you know. And so tell us a little bit, what are the circumstances that led to her being a speaker at that tender age?
So yes, very good story. So for the audience, my daughter is 8 years old. Her name is Faith, and we have a company together called Faith and Sparkles World. And that company is to empower, inspire, encourage future generations of leaders. And it came about when my mom had cancer. Faith was about 1.5 years, 2. She was going through therapy. And at 3, she saw herself as a superhero doctor because my mom recovered from cancer. So there were times when my mom was going through that. Of course, we lived with my mom for a bit. And, there was prayers and all of the things, right, together. And faith grew. And at 3, middle of the night, I want to go to sleep. She's telling me, she's a superhero doctor and she wants to write this book called Superhero Faith. And I just said, yeah, sure, let's do it. Not thinking anything of it. And she was persistent. I tell you, show up every day. Yeah, she showed up every single day, asking, is it not? Is it today? Is it today? Is it today? And on my mother's table, we sat down and she shared with me what a superhero doctor does. And at the end of that, and I have this video and on the website, on the Faith and Sparkles World website, they see it because she's done several interviews and stuff. But it was posted and she asked, can it be a real book? And I was like, okay, why not? Not thinking it would actually be a real book, in all honesty. I did not think that. And but I called around. This was around COVID time, so we're 2020. And things started shutting down. And I got in contact with an editor, and the editor introduced me to an illustrator. And I was like, yeah, let's do this. The price is right. Let's do it. And the reason why we self-published was because I wanted her to remember this moment in her life. I just thought it was going to be one book. It would be finished. And she would have a memory. We'll sell like maybe 10 copies. And thousands of copies later, she was still going. We did pop-ups in bookstores around the world in different countries, Australia, Ireland, England, like they bought it in North America. Wow. And at 5 years old, she woke up a few months after her 5th birthday, and she was like, Mom, I saw myself on stage. Wow. I was like, that's great. No, literally, I was like, that's great. 2 weeks later, I get an email asking someone that was hosting an event. They asked if she could come and do a reading of her book. So I was like, Yeah, great, no worries. And that was a free event. So just so you guys know, I was like, yeah, sure. I took it because it was free. She had a dream. This is what she saw. So I was like, she's getting the opportunity, right? After that event, she was like, that's not what I saw. There was no microphone. There was no water. People were sitting. Like, she's had this vision of, like, I think a TEDx talk. I don't know. But she saw something else. And I said, well, next time you need to specify. A few months later, we got another call, and we had the opportunity to speak at a educational conference. Yes, she got 15 minutes. She was their first speaker, and she talked about bullying because she was severely bullied in school, and her life was threatened. And so she talked about that, and it was really great because that was the first time that we really saw the impact of our audience and the trust that they have in us, and people showing up, because we were in a different community. Like, we were outside the city. I think we're like 4 or 5 hours outside of the city. And there were people that showed up who knew her, who was following her on with their kids. They show up with their kids because it's an educational conference. Okay. And they, they didn't buy the book online. Some of them bought it in person, and they just came to hear her talk, and she met new fans. And that was like this catalyst. And then the military call, their family center. I mentioned I'm a veteran, and they were asking, can we do something? Does your daughter speak? And that was such an impactful moment because my daughter, for the first time, got an opportunity to see different bases, but she got to connect with children who were like military children who experienced bullying, and they're going through so many other things that come with that, and that level of connection was so wonderful, I thought, because she was 5 still at the time. She didn't turn 6, but she can connect because she knows what it's like to be bullied. She knows what it's like to feel ostracized. She knows what it's like to have a gift and a talent, but still staying the course. And that's how it actually started.
Wow, what a story! So you're not just a parent or a mother. You're kind of really a true hero of who kind of a parent, a father, or mother is supposed to be. So, what message do you have to parents listening to us right now, who will listen to us later, on the importance of helping the children to cultivate their giftedness at that tender age so that they grow knowing that this is what I am best at?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, listen. There are things that kids come up with. Just listen to them. Remember, you don't need to be at the top 1% right away. If your child, your son says, I want to be the president, or they say, I want to run a business, or I want to be an engineer or a doctor, or a writer, whatever it is, say, that's wonderful. How are we going to get started on that? Ask questions. And then you'll actually see if they are interested in it before you start investing in it, right? A lot of the times parents think, well, my children change their mind all the time. And it's true, for certain things they do. But when it's something that they know, and all children, you, me, even, then we grew up and we forgot, but we're all really just naturally good at something. We had this calling. And once that's cultivated, then you work on the character. And this is something I do in my own home as well, and something I had to work on for myself before it could be passed on to another generation. All right. You can work on the character. Don't look at the dollar signs. Don't think in that terms. Look at, how am I building a person that's rich with morals, with values, with character, with integrity, and any and everything that your child is involved in, from going to the school. You need to see beyond going to the school, perhaps in a place of worship, if that's where you guys go on a Saturday or Sunday or wherever. Look beyond that. What are they getting? What are they ingesting? If they play soccer or dance or whatever, don't only look at the fact that they're playing soccer, they're dancing, they're playing cricket or baseball or whatever sport. See beyond what discipline is being influenced in their lives. How is this coach? How is this teacher impacting and influencing my child? How are the students in the classroom impacting and influencing my child? And once you start asking these questions and you start listening, then you can hear from your child's perspective, and then you can also visually see what's going on around you. So when your children encounter situations, and they will, such as friendships, or maybe they're not connecting with their coach or their teacher or whatever, or they have to make a decision because someone who's their best friend may want them to do something that does not align with how they were brought up. It becomes easy for you to help them navigate those situations while still remaining true to who they are. And that is the best way, the most simplest, the most effective way as a parent to be able to support your children and to guide them. Because remember, it's every day, being consistent, every single day. It's those small steps and the consistency and the showing up and the listening that's going to help them bloom.
I love that. What message do you have to parents that they really prioritize making money and trying to make more dollars over their children? Like, I'm really, really excited how you've been following up with Faith and ensuring that she's doing the right things and she's learning the right things and she's in the right community. Some parents might not have that kind of mindset that they have to spend time with kids, especially in the northern part of the world, where life is like very fast, and at times they can really trust their kids in the hands of different people, but not themselves, because they're really just busy trying to make more money to sustain the family. It's not bad at times, but it's not too good at times. So how do you blend? What is the message on how they can blend, that lifestyle, creating time, intentional time for the family?
With anything that we do, we all have to prioritize and make sacrifices. So if your priority is money, you're sacrificing your family. There's a good chance you're sacrificing your health. There's a greater chance, right? You're sacrificing these relationships. If your priority is your family, then you see there's something else that is not getting, you're starving it. Not getting as much attention. And that doesn't necessarily mean the money. So it's finding the balance. If you're in a 2-income household, there is always one who will be the main caregiver. Not saying that the two aren't going to be working together, but there's always usually one person who is there most of the time, majority of the time, to guide and nurture the children and grow them. If you're a single parent household, you need to understand that there are seasons that you will have to be on a budget. There are seasons that you cannot go out with friends and spend money to do certain things, right? And that means that, you know what, you got to take a walk in the park or walk around the block and your kids are there and you get to know their friends' parents or whatever, then that's what you got to do. Go to the library. There's lots of activities. I'm an advocate, because anywhere in the world you could go in any library, it's free, and there's always something that's happening. So there's that. So once you understand and you figure out what your priority is, that means that there is something that is going to get starved out of your life, and you have to be at peace with that. And that's just really the only way.
Okay, I love that. And to many speakers watching us right now, most of them could be in the stage in their speaking journey where they feel like they are pushing so hard, but they're not getting the results that is equivalent to the commitment, the dedication that they are giving. And at times they feel like, is the juice worth the squeezing? Is the sacrifice, is the result worth the sacrifice? So what message of hope do you have to give to these aspiring speakers watching right now and who will be watching after on the importance of sticking to the process and being persistent until you get the result very soon?
Exactly what I mentioned earlier. Anyone who has been in industry for decades and decades, it took them a while before their name became the name that they have today. And I also mentioned to maximize your social media. So you may not be getting a particular stage that you want to be on, but you still have a platform. And building your community is far more valuable than seeking and rushing and chasing after getting on a stage, because you already have a stage. You have social media, you tuned into Facebook, go live. Talk about your main talk, whatever your main talk is. People will tune in. And then from that main talk, do your clips and your reels and go from there. You don't need to start paying people $6,000, $10,000, $20,000, especially if you're not at that stage yet, right? For that level of support. There will come a time when you will need that. But start where you are and maximize it, know it, understand it, live, eat, breathe, sleep it. Because once you do, and as you build your community, things will come to you naturally. Now, for those who are saying, well, I've been doing this for 5 years or 2 years, and it's time for me, I need a job. I can't like dedicate the time, right? You can, okay, fine. Sometimes you need to do some work. Maybe you've put everything in. Sometimes there are seasons where we need to rest. That does not mean you're stopping. So bills still got to be paid. Maybe you have a family. Okay, go and get the work that you need, but still show up for your community and build it. It's not going to take you 20 hours in a day, right? And then this is where the strategy comes in, especially if you've dedicated your time and your energy and your effort to understanding the algorithm, understanding systems, understanding strategy, and implementing them strategically so that you will start getting the success that you need.
I love that. Okay, quick facts. Let's do some quick questions. So, what are the 3 things that you actually travel for speaking gigs that you can't go without them? 3 things, tools, and you always travel for your gigs.
Well, my phone and my headphones, because I listen to music, very like more instrumental stuff, old stuff, just to center me. That's a big piece. Another thing, a book. I always have a book with me. I love to read. Reading is very, very good. Yeah,
I love that.
I love reading. And then the third thing that I do is research. I'm always walking with the research of the audience, the research of where I'm going, what do I want to accomplish, and the reason why those 3 things are important. Everyone needs a phone, but the research piece is because I want to be as prepared as possible. Once I have that information, once I have the knowledge, then I start shifting gears mentally, and emotionally to figure, okay, what do I want to say? What is the impact that I want to have? So when I do show up in the hotel room or wherever I'm going, I have that time, that quiet period before I go on to just be and to breathe it out and to share some wisdom.
Of that, what was the the kind of a mistake you ever make as a speaker on the stage, that taught you a lesson, and what was the lesson it taught you?
One big mistake that I made was I heard something. I was on a panel and someone gave advice that I was like, that is the silliest thing I've ever heard. Like, it was just, I would not, like, you're making this more difficult for this person, and this person is going to be spending, and anyone else hearing this, they're going to be spending a lot more money unnecessarily, right, into it. But when that happened, I interrupted, respectfully after I gave a respectful thought to it and left it at that. But I actually ended up learning that just because someone's on stage doesn't necessarily mean that they fully understand what they're doing, nor do they necessarily have the wisdom or the capacity to share with others. But because someone put them on stage, or because they knew someone, or whatever the case may be, they're on there. People are listening. And we see this each and every day. And so you have to, learn. And I've learned that it's good to listen and knowing when to speak, and to be able to provide that value.
Thank you. I love that. So which is the book you've read so far that has really kind of had the greatest impact in your life as a professional speaker, Delisa? I read a lot of books. Yes.
I read a lot of books. I'm actually reading 2 at the same time right now. But
wow, amazing.
This one, anything but John C. Maxwell. If you're a new speaker, I would say read something from John C. Maxwell. He's talking about leadership. He talks about speaking. So that's really, really great. But there is a book on strategy. There's two of them. The Art of War, which I recommend everyone reads. If you're in business or public speaking or whatever, leadership, Art of War, you have to read it. And the other one is Business is War. It talks about all the billionaires, and I think one of the trillionaires that's there now. And that book, the author, and this is a real book. It's actually like one of the best books out there. He interviewed billionaires and found out their strategy, and he even showed his failure where he didn't even do his research on one of the billionaires that kicked him out of his house because he was like, you didn't do any research. Why are you here? Like, you're asking me questions that I already wrote in a book. Why did you waste my time to have lunch with me? Right. But so the author is like, yes, man, he's like, I felt humbled. And after that, he made sure that he always had research. And so that helped me to make sure that now I'm really diligent to make sure I research everything, because you never want to make these types of, mistakes. They're so simple and easy, but you're like, no, it's not necessary. So I would recommend those 2 main books only because they're oldies but goodies, and there's so much value in them that you could apply it to any and every area of your life, as well as the Bible. But yeah,
I love that. I love that, because I feel that you're a woman of faith. I love that. So as we draw the curtains of this conversation, Delisa Abraham, I want you to look to your camera. Look straight to the camera. Talk to your 21 years version or younger self. And that is someone somewhere in Kenya, in Ghana, in Nigeria, in South Africa, in New York, in Washington, in Michigan, in Australia, in Singapore, Europe, like right now, listening to you, to 18 years, 19 years, 20 years, 21 years, about the importance of not giving up and sticking to the process until you get the result. In 1 minute, please.
Don't give up. You have so much value. You have a lot of worth. Your life has meaning. No one else can do what you were meant to do. It will get tough. It will be hard. There will be times of challenging, but I encourage you, be inspired, be empowered, be at rest when needed, but also close to those who will support you, who empower you, and who encourage you, and find that mentor. Because the world needs your voice. The world needs your value. The world needs your vision to make it better.
Thank you so much, Delisa, for that 1 minute keynote. That was a powerful one there. Sincerely appreciate. And that is it, my dear friend listening right now. The world needs you, like our guest Delisa Abraham said it. And guess what? The world is not going for you. You have to go to the world. You have to find that mentor, like you said, and get to them. Don't wait them to get to you because you don't want to waste your time. And so that was the Global Speakers Advantage podcast, episode 33, 33rd edition. And we are so honored to have Delisa Abraham right away from Canada, who came in and shared her wisdom with you. And how are you going to use this information, use this knowledge? How are you going to apply all the principles, the nuggets you've learned in this episode? And we are challenging you that get to work, take action. No matter how much you know, if you don't apply it, you are not going to take a step. You're not going to move to your version 2.0, 3.0, 4.0, 5.0. And so we're challenging you to take actions of what you've learned today. And we want to assure you life will never remain the same again. And so that was how we saw it for today. And this is the Global Speakers Advantage podcast. And here we bring in guests from all around the world that they share their stories and their journey of speaking, helping you to also share your story with us one day and touching lives and making the world a better place. And of course, you are just one step away from your own platform, provided that your story is real. So the question is your story real or fake? So you have to make sure your story is real, and platforms will never be a problem. I see you, and of course, we believe in you, and we are looking forward to see you at the top. Until we meet again, stay blessed and see you next time. Bye-bye.
You have lived through powerful moments. You have overcome and you have grown. Now it's time to tell your story and get booked for it. At Talks, we are launching a powerful platform called Tell Us Your Story. And it's moment for you to shine. We will work with you one-on-one and coach you to be able to share your story with the world. And we will take your story, edit it, and list it in our platform, Talks. Let the world hear what you've been through and why it matters now more than ever. Spots are limited. If you're ready to turn your story into your stage, now is the time.
Hello world, I'm Delisa Abraham from Bamenda, Cameroon, and I am this week's Spotlight listener on the Global Speakers Advantage podcast. Why do I tune in every Tuesday and Friday? Because this podcast doesn't just inspire, it ignites. It reminds me that my story, my voice, and my purpose matter locally and globally. Since I started listening, I've gained the courage to continue speaking, write a book, and even launch numerous courses in public speaking. It's like having a front row seat to greatness every single week. So to you who is watching, dream boldly, speak fearlessly, and keep listening, because the Global Speakers Advantage podcast isn't just a show, it is a movement. Thank you, Coach Oliver, for creating this.
Hello world, I am Delisa from the Northwest region of Cameroon. I am excited to be this week's spotlight listener of the Global Speakers Advantage podcast. Why do I tune on to this podcast every Tuesday and Friday? I do this because it doesn't just inspire, it ignites, and it constantly reminds me that my dream, my purpose, and my story matters both locally and globally. To all those listening to this podcast, keep listening, dream boldly, speak fearlessly, and keep listening, because it's not just a show, it is a movement. This podcast has helped me to be able to host programs, speak in programs, and I'm looking forward to hosting more courses with the help of this podcast. Thank you, Sir Oliver Nshom.